You guys are ready?
Good. Right.
So scrimmage number one, I mean, our guys did a really good job prepping for this. And as coaches, you have this scrimmage, you have next week's scrimmage, and then you've got 2 weeks till we play Georgia Southern. So this scrimmage, this was practice number 9, is just a really good barometer of where we're at. And that was my message to our team earlier today was, hey guys, it's not about what any of you did last season, what you did prior to being here, spring ball, summer. We are exactly who we put on film today. So there's no hiding from it. The good, the bad, there's no pointing fingers. Like, we have to embrace whatever we are right now because it's on film. That's the beautiful thing about football is you can't run from that. It's black and white. There's some guys today that did a really good job. There's some guys that have a lot of growth that still needs to happen prior to kickoff. So it's a really good deal for us as coaches. And then no different for me as the head coach, looking at the whole operation. How was it communication from the box to the sideline? How are we on subs from special teams? O, D, all those things, the whole operation, and then a really good look at who we are on all sides of the ball from a schematic standpoint, but then more importantly for me is where are these individuals at? Not even just the individuals that are in a quote-unquote position battle, our whole team, because we are who we put on film right now, and it's all about how we grow from scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2. So our guys did a good job. We had close to 100 plays today, which was my goal, to get guys a good feel. We went live, and there was some about the first 25% of the scrimmage. We had the quarterbacks go live too, just so they could feel what that was like for Maddox, Malachi, to feel a true rush, and you can get hit. Not just me blowing it dead. Really, the second half of the scrimmage, we did not have the quarterbacks go live, but all the ball carriers were live. So I'm proud of how they competed. I'm proud of how our guys showed up today. They've had a really good fall camp so far. Got some guys banged up, fighting their tail off to get back out in the field, get healthy. But I'm proud of where we are right now. But there's a lot we need to clean up on film. That's what I told our team. Like, we are right now, this is us. And so as coaches, we got to look at ourselves. Our players got to look in the mirror and say, how do I grow from now to Monday's practice? So proud of where we went to. We did some good things on either side of the ball. Offense started out with a great drive, 75-yard touchdown drive, which is great to see. Our operation defensively, we were able to grow from that drive with our starters and have a better rest of the scrimmage. Defense did a good job on third down. Offense had a ton of explosive plays. So there was really good back and forth from both sides, and we got some really good special teams work as well. So I'm proud of how our guys came out and competed. We still got a long way to go. Once again, we got a lot of work to do, coaches-wise, player-wise, but this is a really good evaluation for us of where we are right now.
What position group would you say stood out the most, took that biggest leap today, Coach?
That's a good question, Johnny. I don't know if I could say that right off the top of my head without watching it fully. I'm proud of just how both sides competed. And there's guys starting to elevate at each position. Some guys maybe did a good job in practice and they came out here and didn't. Some guys have kind of been maybe hit or miss and they came out here and played really well. Because as a coach, I put a lot of stress on the scrimmage for a reason. I want to know how you are when the stakes are higher. And I told our team, like, there will be moves for our whole team because of what you put on film today. And so I got to go watch the film to be able to say that, John. It's a good question. But there were some guys that elevated and some guys that we got to keep working with.
Who led the 75-yard drive? Who was that Ones on offense?
Yeah, it was Blues Maddox.
Okay.
Yeah, both quarterbacks did a good job today. Both competed. We put Malachi had some reps with the Blues, which is our ones. Maddox had some reps with the Blues. Maddox had some reps with the twos. Malachi had some reps with the ones. So Dirk Cutter did a really good job kind of mixing them in and out. And once again, that first half of the scrimmage, 25, 30%, whatever it was of plays, we're live for the quarterbacks too. So we're playing true football just as if it was August 31st. So got to go look at the film. Not going to go into the quarterback battle a ton right now. I can tell you both of them competed. Both of them had big throws. Both of them have some things we need to keep working to improve on. It was a really good evaluation.
With the quarterbacks, man, you're not going to get into, but there's some stuff we can't say of what we see at practice. But there's been one guy taking pretty much all the one reps that we've seen.
Yep.
How much of a battle is there actually going on at quarterback?
Yeah, it's every day. Everything's charted, and Dirk Cutter does a great job. I mean, that's why he's someone that I rely on so much in this situation is because he's done it for a long time. He knows exactly what it takes to not only play the quarterback position but to win games. That's my biggest thing as a head coach. Me and Dirk talk after every practice exactly where Malachi is at, exactly where Maddox is at, the things that they need to improve on, and the things they're doing well. Because at the end of fall camp, prior to game, we're going to name our starter. And that's going to be whoever gives us the best chance to win games, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to develop young men and win football games, and they both did some good stuff today. And we're going to look at it to see there is going to be someone at the end of this when we evaluate that outplayed one or the other. I mean, that's the reality of football. Like, we're going to look at the stats, look at who operated the offense better, who made more throws, who made better decisions. And when we sit down as a staff and watch it together later today, we're going to have a good evaluation of, hey, Maddox, this is exactly what you did. Malachi, this is exactly what you did. And then we'll look to see who played better. But that's something we're going to keep in-house because I don't want our guys focused on that. I want them focused on how they are growing, right? I don't want guys focused on, well, what's going on with the next guy. Focus on yourself. And I get all the buzz about it. It should be. Quarterback at Boise State's a huge deal. But I want our guys focused on that. That's why we're going to keep that kind of stuff in-house. But there's going to be someone who played better than the other person today. It's football. And we'll look at that as a staff.
You mentioned a lot of explosive plays. Can you give us examples of some players that stood out in that area?
Yeah, I mean, Latrell Cable's had a good day today. I mean, you talk about a young man who's not only a huge leader on our team, but came out, made some big plays for our offense. Austin Bolt had a couple big catches. Chris had a big catch. Sire Gaines ran the ball hard. Tyler Crow had a couple big-time bounce runs that he took for touchdowns. Really excited for that senior to be able to step up and do some really good things. So, and that's just to name a couple. So, I mean, there are some guys that had some explosive plays on offense, which is good to see. Ben Ford had a big catch. So our guys we're getting there, man. I'm proud of the growth we're having from our offense, creating explosive plays, because that's the game. The biggest stats that I look for is relentless effort. I'm talking games in regards to stats that directly correlate to winning. Relentless effort. We will outplay people from how we play. Secondly is explosives. Eliminating them on defense, creating them on offense. And then the third one is the turnover battle. If you win those three stats, you win football games. NFL, FBS, like those are the stats that directly correlate to winning. There's a lot of other things that we look at in regards to growing our players, third downs, red zone, all those things. But those three stats, as the head coach, we need to win those three. When we do, we win football games. And so there was some good and bad on both sides. I'm excited to watch it and clean it up.
When you looked at the scrimmage today on the defensive side of the ball, what do you think they did best? And then same thing for the offense. What did you think they did best?
Yeah. I'd say defensively, I'm proud of how they played third downs. They did a good job on third downs. Coach Chin's did a good job putting in some things for us to grow in that area, because third down was something we struggled with a lot last year. So we've evolved, and I'm proud of where we're growing to. Something that we need to improve on is just like that first drive. We gave up some explosive plays, and that's the killer defensively. You got to eliminate explosive plays. In this day and age, offenses don't want to go 3 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards down the field. They need chunk gains to sustain drives, and we need to do a good job eliminating them. I'd say on the flip side, what I'm very proud of our offense is they were in a really good rhythm. Coach Cutter and the offensive staff did a really good job of that, and they created a lot of explosive plays today.
You mentioned Ben Ford. You know, he was telling me yesterday about his whole recovery from that injury and how it took much longer than he expected it to. You know, what have you seen from him through fall camp, and just how mentally strong was he just to go through all that?
The word that I think when I think Ben Ford, I think consistent. And as a head coach and as a coach in general, that's huge. I know that I'm going to get Ben Ford's best every single day. He's banged up, just like everybody. It's practice 9 of fall camp. There's not anyone on our team that felt great waking up this morning, and especially Ben Ford has gotten a ton of reps. He's made some big time catches, big time plays, especially a guy that's been through a lot of injuries. We're going to need Ben Ford, and he did a really good job today, and he's just super consistent. He catches everything you throw at him. He's smart, he's consistent, and we're going to need him in a major way.
You know, even through, you know, the depth that you do have at wide receiver, he's still
Yep.
shining. You know, is it just that consistency, or is there something else that just really is making him shine?
Yeah, consistency is a huge part. He's also a very smart football player. He's athletic, he's consistent, and he makes safeties, linebackers, and even corners he lines up. So he's hard to cover. And a guy that has the radius he has, he's an explosive player, and a guy that knows exactly what he's going to do, and he's tough. He's going to make plays for our team, and we need him to. So Ben Ford did a really good job. And on the flip side, defensively, there's some guys like Jeremiah Irby continues to keep growing. There's some things that he needs to keep working on. Max Steege is a guy that, you know, wasn't able to play a lot of spring ball, that played for us at the end of last season. He had a good scrimmage day from my first view at it. So Alex Tubner continues to show up as a guy that makes plays and is a relentless pursuit player of our team. I mean, he is, no matter what play it is, he's going for it. And last, I'd say Marco. Like, he's a guy that had a big time pick. The offense was driving in a 2-minute drill, and Marco picked it off to end the drive. So I'm proud of him and how he came back from injury, and then he's going to be a huge part of our defense. So there's a lot of good and bad on both sides, special teams, offense, defense, and that's the beautiful thing about our game. As a coach, we have to, later today when we meet and go through this, it's clear for our players, this is exactly where you are. Not overly hyped, not overly negative. This is exactly who we are on both sides of the ball. And then you learn from it. That's what I told our players when we brought it up. Guys, there's some things that some of you guys are really good today. Some of you didn't. And now as we come together, we gotta show up with a hard hat on and say, Coach, help me. because we need everybody where we're going. And Georgia Southern, that game's coming, and we know the task that's going to be needed from our team.
I was going to ask you 2 questions about the team captain process. First time we've talked to you about that.
Yeah.
When did you name them, and how do you present that to the team? Is it, with it kind of being an honor, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was a completely team voted, Jay. So we gave guys a sheet of paper, and it was vote for the offensive team captain, special teams team captain, defensive team captain. And then I knew going in that I was going to have 3 or 4, depending how the votes came out. And Ashton, Jonah, Alex Tubner, and Ahmed Hossein were the guys clearly that our players see as their leaders.
With those guys, I mean, Ahmed, sack leader, Ashton, Heisman Trophy candidate, and then you have Jonah, walk-on, Alexander Tubner,
Yep.
walk-on. Like, it's just kind of a cool, eclectic
It
group.
is.
Why is that the perfect 4 to lead your team this fall?
Well, first off, I agree with what our players chose or who our players chose, but it's awesome and that's what I told our captains. I said, like I brought up, like it says in the book of Luke, to whom much is given, much is required. This is not just something that I'm a captain, so now I can live a certain, it's going to be harder for you now that you're a captain, because everything you do, your teammates are going to look at and already have looked at you for. No different when you leave this building. What you do when you leave this building matters, because I'm counting on you to lead our team, yes, on that field, but also when we're away from this building, and their teammates are the ones that voted on them to be those guys. And so you look at it's a group, not only are they the leaders of our team, but they're also our top players. And some of them are walk-ons that have earned it consistently every day, and they haven't taken their foot off the gas one bit. And they're more excited to go compete this year than they ever have.
Latrell's the guy that you mentioned made some big plays today. You didn't have him last season. What does it mean to have him back just in terms of his leadership on the field?
It's huge. I mean, he's one of the top leaders on our offense. And he does a great job, not only with the receivers and setting the standard for what it takes to play this game, but with our whole offense. And seeing him go out, and he's a matchup issue for secondary. I mean, we move him all over the place. He's smart. He picks up football very well, and he's tough. So him coming back not only for his play on the field, but his leadership is huge.
With Ashton, how do you weigh the risk versus reward of possibly using him in the return game?
Yeah, so we've done a lot of research on that kind of stuff. BJ talked to a lot of head coaches, not only from practice to scrimmages, on how to make sure he's ready for game one, because that's always the balance for me as a head coach. Is I want our team playing fast and fresh game one, but we need to be ready. We need to be ready to play football. And no different for Ashton. Obviously, he's put on film who he is, but he's had a lot of amazing growth over this offseason too. So we've been smart with what we use him. I mean, he's going to be a big-time issue for guys to deal with in the return game. So right now, me and Coach Collins are looking at it to see when we use him. We're going to be smart with the spots we do, but we want him having the ball in his hand as much as we can.
Was he live today?
He was not, no.
What were the benefits of having Chris Peterson here? Seen any dividends so far?
It's huge. I mean, I think I've told you guys before, since the second I got the job, and I've known him prior, I mean, he's a huge mentor of mine. We talk weekly, we'll Zoom, he's come out multiple times, because I want to keep picking his brain to see, Coach, am I missing anything? And it's not just, I shouldn't say just, but it's culture. Yes, there's leadership, but there's black and white. Hey, this is schedule-wise. This is what I'm thinking rep-wise. What are your thoughts? And we'll go back and forth. And he's a great soundboard for me to pick his brain on all facets of leading this program to where we want to lead it to. Not just to where it's been, to where it needs to be at. High expectations to be a part of this football program.
You mentioned Tyler Crow. I mean, he's a guy that kind of got forgotten in this whole running back
Yeah.
situation. We're seeing him get some meaningful carries
Absolutely.
in practice and stuff. I mean, what kind of role is Tyler Crow going to have?
Well, he keeps earning it every single day, BJ. I mean, you talk about a young man that, similar to some of the guys we talked about, Jonah, too. I mean, he's earned it every single second he's been here. And no different what he's doing now. Was out in spring with an injury, kept training, kept working. He's one of the strongest guys in our team. And he's a guy that he's made it to where we have to find a way to get him a role. We have to give him the ball. We have to get him in these situations because he's earned it. He's earned it. It's not just because, we like Tyler Crow better than somebody else. He's earned it. And he's going to have a big role in our offense and on special teams.
When you look at the team, everybody talks about how many different people are contributing. When you're out there at practice, when you go through the scrimmage, do you feel that the depth is better this year than it's been in the last few years?
We got to keep building it, Bob. I mean, we got a really good group of guys that have been here, that have played, but there's a lot of positions right now that there's a big difference between the starter and the number two. And as a coach, we need that number two to keep growing, because the reality of it is, and I tell our players is, just because you're the number two on the depth chart does not mean that you're going to play in the game. I hope you earn that, but I'm not going to put anybody on that field that hasn't earned it. Not just because, I'm the number two and the number one guy's banged up or needs a breather. You better earn it. And there's majority of those positions we have that. But there's some positions, O&D, where that number two has not earned it for the trust from the coaches and his teammates for me to put on the field against Georgia Southern. So yes, I think we're in a good spot, but we still got a long way to go in regards to our depth. There's still too much of a barrier between the starter and the number 2.
Last one. Do you need one more?
You can go. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
can go too.
Go for it, John.
Well, just, talking to Hall Schmidt yesterday, the big word that came away from him was communication. He's going up on a line that, has that experience, has that chemistry already. How's he fitting in with them?
Well, first off, it's great talking with the veterans on that offensive line that have come back, picking their brain about the right tackle spot and who's, doing a really good job. And there's multiple guys that are. But what impresses Hall so much from his teammates is how much he wants it. Not just with what he talks about, not with what he tweets about, because he's in there constantly. I mean, he lives in that O-line room. He lives in the training room. Hall Schmidt's the guy's like, Hall, you need to go home. You need to go get sleep because he wants to help this team so much, and he's had a really good fall camp so much. And that's proven because of how hard he's worked.
I actually got one more about you picking team captains. When did you announce that, Spencer, and what is the significance of the timing of that to set the tone?
So did it a team meeting prior to, I think maybe 2 days prior to fall camp starting, Jay. And as we start this 24 campaign, obviously since January we've been working on the 24 campaign, but wanted every player on our team to get a chance to lead in their own way and see how they do that consistently. Because yes, being a really good player helps you have guys watch you. But that does not mean that you're a leader. That does not mean you're doing everything it takes in how you live, how you prep, how you train to be a captain. So I wanted to give our team 8 months essentially to watch each other and see who is really elevating themselves to step in these leadership roles. And so did it then. We tallied the votes. And the team meeting prior to fall camp starting is when I announced to our captains, where as we start playing football again, helmets on, as we got 3 weeks till game week, I wanted to show our guys these are the captains. And I met with them all, like I said prior, is, hey, yes, congratulations to you four. You guys deserve this. You've earned it. But to whom much is given, much is required. You have to live differently than the rest of our team. That's just no different for me as a head coach, no different when you step into a new level of leadership. Everything you do will be watched. And the second you guys aren't holding the standard, like, we cannot survive. And so how you do everything is how you do anything. And so it's a big deal for us.